phone on my desk and give me. I'm live. Hey, we are live.
Oh, hello everyone. Okay.
Hey there. Welcome to the House of Chair Girls live show.
Okay. I'm just trying to share.
Hey, hey. If you're watching us, if you can hear us, please pump us a heart or just comment and let us know that you can see and you can hear us. Hello, hello. Any lock eyes, have you been able to share?
Yeah, I'm currently sharing on Facebook right now.
Hi, thank you so much for joining us. Happy Sunday.
Hello everyone. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, it's Super Stu. We can go ahead and start.
Hi everyone. Thanks for joining. It's always a pleasure. It's another Sunday and it's 3 p.m. Eastern Central Time and 2 p.m.
Central Time.
Central Time, and I guess 8 p.m. Central African Time. So thank you all for joining. For the 3 people or 2 people who are online right now, thanks for joining. Please don't forget to share, like, and comment, and send us some hearts. As we always say, we're here, House of Chair Girl Show. We're here to talk about our stories, give our opinions about stories around the world, our experiences, and just have a good time, chat, and talk with you, and try to communicate, educate what we have in mind, try to motivate you, educate you with the knowledge that we have, propose, because we always say nothing is set on stone. We're just putting out our opinions and we want to hear from you as well. So Solange, what are we talking about today?
Hey, thanks again so much for joining. So today we are hitting hard on love, right? We want to talk about love. And I'm going to pull that banner up so we can see. So today we want to talk about how we show and receive love from within our family. And this is, again, we know that there is no recipe for love. There is no particular way or there is no particular thing that you get to do for somebody to know. Again, there are different things. So, what I'm trying to say, there is nothing that is set on stone. So, before we go into the details of what we're talking about today, I just wanted to give a little bit of highlights on this whole love concept, virtue, however we choose to call it. And one thing I know for sure that there are two main things that exist in this world. There is love, and I think I've heard a couple of people say this, so this is not my invention. I just don't have any specific person to quote, but it's something that is generally said by people who preach, talk about love. So there is love and there is everything else. So everything else competes with love. And looking at that, we are looking at whenever anybody or if somebody chooses love, right? There is always that the choice of love is always the right choice. That is how powerful love can be. And again, we're talking about love here in the general sense. So the choice of love is always the right choice. You can never go wrong by choosing love. Yes, and by choosing love doesn't mean you will not experience hurt, you will not experience disappointment. All of those will come, but they're only but you're coming from the right place, from the good place, right? And when I look at this, I always want to look at love beginning from oneself. It begins with us. Because when we talk about relationships, like your relationship with yourself is the first relationship, right? So, love of yourself is also the first step of it. So, there is that love of self, then love for others. And again, why are we on earth? We are on earth to love and to be loved. That is how I look at it. That is how I see it. Love just governs everything around us. That is our purpose. So today we are going to be looking at love from different angles, but within the family. And when we talk of within the family, we'll be looking at love among our parents, like how our parents show love, how they love themselves. We'll be looking at how our parents how parents show their children love. I'll be looking at how these children show love among themselves. Then we're going to end this up by looking at how the children, on the other hand, show love to their parents, and we'll be focusing on the retiring parents at this, so the parents in their old age. Right. So that is a synopsis of what we'll be talking about today. And I'll hand the mic over to Ice to go ahead and share some insights with us on love among parents.
So thank you for that. I was just smiling because I'm thinking I'm starting from our parents, that age group. And when back in the day, parents didn't get married because of love most of the time. They were being there was arranged marriage. So they got married. Hey, this guy is doing well, or this is a good girl that is actually doing well at home, can be a good home keeper. Then they like try to arrange and make those people get married. And if you even listen to some of the stories, our parents and aunts, you hear them saying, hey, when I was about 18, this guy came into the village and they told him that there is a good girl, maybe from the palace or from, and he said, hey, let me try that. So they just got married even without, I don't know, I'm not certain, but I didn't think they found each other attractive that they could live with, but I don't think that love that we're talking about this day, that unconditional love that somebody like Harold Baker says, unconditional love is an unlimited way of being, which means you love everything, all of me, as John Legend says. I love all of you, and with all your flaws, with all your mistakes, with all the goodness that you come with. So parents did not, I didn't see that. I don't want to say I didn't see that part, but it's kind of different from today. So the way I know from my parents and the other parents that I've observed around that they show love is about just providing, first of all, being able to provide for the home, ensuring that we have a roof over our head, ensuring that there's food, ensuring that you can go to the hospital when you're sick, and all those necessities of life. First of all, providing was the main thing. Then, and that's coming from the man's side, right? From the father's side. And for women, it's just about being a good homekeeper, being taking care of your kids, ensuring that they are clean, ensuring that there's always food in the house. And one or two times you see they'll do that special dish, right? Like there are few evenings where you observe that, hey, today is different. Like maybe we ate well, but maybe something different it's happening. Maybe there are 3 square meals happening that evening. You're just like, hey, now I come to understand that that's how mom showed love, right? And that evening where dad would be like, hey, let's go out and go get a drink. Let's go out and go get a drink or maybe during a weekend. That's how he showed love. And I saw that with so many parents around. I have just one couple that I know that I will not call the name, that I know that of our parents' age, that I used to see them walk around and even hold hands. I saw just one person, but that touchy or the love language by Gary Chapman, where you have 5 love languages. Act of service was really big amongst our parents in those days. Act of service was a big one. Words of affirmations will come. They were there, but we did not know because we thought the affirmations would be like, hey, baby, you look pretty. No, right? But it would be like things that you can hear your dad say Nimuna, right? Saying, my calling his wife, my mother. Namu, like my mom, like those are the words of affirmation. So they were there already. Then gift. I know gifts were really like, I didn't see a lot of gifts coming, but I know there was money. There was some money transaction in the back, right? So you saw those things, and really quality time as well. Quality time was a big one I observed. That this man just likes to sit at home and spends time with his family or spends time with his wife. So those three words of affirmations, um, sorry, acts of service, quality time, gift, and it was there, but we looked at it through a different lens. Like we're looking at it through a different lens right now. So it existed, depending on how language kind of changed things. When they say uh, uh, um, romance is better in French, right? It could be better in the Mbakum as well, depending on how you're looking at it. So I actually saw that, and that's how I saw parental love.
Yeah, that's interesting. And thanks to all of you who have joined us. Again, remember to pump us hearts. And again, I think there is an option to send stars. Again, if you're loving what you see, send us some stars. Thank you so much, Ice, for joining. Yes, I see BLE says love family love is the best love. Thank you so much for joining, Grace and Wheels the Colon. We appreciate you. And Geraldine, we see you. Thanks for creating the time to listen in. And just after listening to what Ice has said, what is your take? How did you observe your parents show love to each other, right? Were they more verbal about it? Did they say he'll what like Ice is just mentioning? Our dad will say things like when he's in his mood, he will say things like Numu, right? To him, that is a pet name that he will call his wife. He will use those words. What are some of the ways where your parents the kind of people who will sit and tell each other that they love them? Were they the kind of couple, or are they the kind of couple that your dad will get back from home and they give each other a peck in front of you? What kind of environment did you grow up in? How did you see your parents showing each other love? So that's what we'd love to hear from you, our audience. And again, share with us any exciting. What are some of the pet names that your parents called each other as you were growing up? As you were growing up, share some of those with us, and we are happy to bring those up and talk about them. So, Ice has spoken about parental love, and now I'm going to switch gears a little bit, and I'll talk a little bit about the parents, the love to the kids. How do the parents show their kids love? Right. One thing is for certain, growing up, my experience, it is more common, it is easier to see mothers and fathers do all the affirmative love and speak love to their babies when the kids are still small, right? When they are still babies, they said all those things, they sing you all the sweet lullabies. I still remember we grew up singing something like Nigin Tong, Aganenki, but I've forgotten the lyrics. But again, so those are songs that I heard my father singing. I know he sang those songs to me. I heard him sing them to Ice. I heard him sing those songs to Charlene. So again, I always knew that that is a lullaby. That is a song for babies. So you could hear them show love in this way. You had all those. So my point is, it was easier for me to hear that love, the affirmative part of love, when we were younger, when we were smaller, when we were kids, and as we grow older, they become more action, right? It's more of action than verbal. Than yes, I know that today when I speak to my dad, I will say things. I just want him to be able to. I think last week we said something about, hey, who is your favorite child? And he told each and every one of us that we were his favorite child and stuff like that. So, how did you experience love from your parents? Were they the kind of parents that would talk to you and say, hey, I love you, my son, I love you, my daughter? Or were they more on the action, right? They do things, they made sure that you dressed well. Again, remember that that is love. They might not have been verbal and singing all the love songs, but they made sure that you were catered for. you dressed well, you went to good schools. Those are all ways of showing love. I see something in the in the all right. I see Charlene says a babe and more, Rosie Babes. Did you ever hear your father call your mom Rosie Babes? Yes, and I see a young Grace. So I personally grew up in a broken home. We're sorry to hear that, Rosie. No, was that Rosie? No, a young Grace.
Young
But
Grace.
again, it doesn't stop you. It doesn't deprive you of love. You might not have seen it growing up with your parents, but it is you now to show the love to the people that you bring into the world. And thank you for sharing that. And remember, love is the greatest one. And again, I can just go ahead and tell you now, Grace, that I love you for real. And thank you for sharing that. So yes, kids, parents among kids, like parents showing their love to kids. How do your parents show you love? Did they say it? And Ice, what do you have to share on that topic? Like, did they
Uh,
ever tell you that they love you, or did you just see things?
I would say more often I was shown that I was loved, and for me, love is an action word. Love is actionable. Just telling me that you love me, it's not enough. It's about showing me that you love me. And all my life on earth, I've received that love from my parents. And so for me, they were actionable. And few times will be that they don't come like, remember, we are working with time. We don't have the current or the millennial parents that will be like, hey, I love you. Now mom is saying it. I hear her say it more often right now compared to back in the day, right?
Before.
But you hear words like back in the day should be like, I'm doing this to you because I care about you. I'm doing this. But just getting up in the morning and just saying, hey, I love you, that was a word that I didn't hear often, but I felt it, which the feeling of it is more important than hearing it for me. So I
Yeah.
felt love more often than heard it.
And again, they necessarily did not have to say "I love you." I remember our mom would say things like "Mama yo," "Amune." All
Yeah,
those are all. They might not necessarily come and say "Makongo." Like the kind "I love you" to translate, but
yeah,
they had, depending on the language that your parents speak, they said "I love you" in varied ways, in very different ways, without necessarily doing the English translation of "I love you." You get
yeah.
it? I see a comment from BLE. I grew up with my other sister and her husband, who always call her, oh, Marie or Mama. You see, this is still the Mama kind
Yes,
of thing,
yes.
like Numu.
True. And just to say it, most men call their, especially in the African setting. For me, the way they call, like now you hear people saying babe in the West, babe, a
Babe.
love. Most men call their wives mama, as same as their children, and or mommy, right?
Mm.
And for me, that's another way in which they show them love as well. Like just say that's their babe in those, like, hey babe, right?
I
So
was listening. I was listening to one of our Cameroonian comedians, Yaki Bella, and she said something like, "People need to stop calling their husbands and wives babe," because she got into a party and one person said babe, and everybody
but
turned around like, "Who is babe?" I heard that on one of Yaki Bella's comedy skits.
yeah,
So,
oh,
yeah.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, good one. So share with us if you have any special thoughts, any special way, any way different from, again, Ice and I just shared with you that to us it was more of action. We saw love more in an actionable way. And again, just to look at the other side of it, the times that I questioned my parents' love, right? This is something that I shouldn't even go ahead without talking about it. I was a very active child, very agile, the one you call the stubborn, talkative, everywhere kind of child. And my mom didn't spare me. She did not. I practically say sometimes I fought with her because she will follow me around the house just to make sure that she doesn't miss a spank. And to me, I once had an argument with her and I told her that because we grew up in a community, for those of you listening that are from Cameroon, you know that most cases in those days we were brought up. I don't, again, it's still happening now, but I'm talking about when I was young in the 2000s, when I was just my early teenage age, when you could actually, is a community that brings up a child. That kind of love that I questioned was, hey, if my mom's friend or a neighbor sees me doing something wrong and they spank me, I'm like, you're not my mother. Why are you beating me, or why are you pulling me home? But growing up, I see that that community love also played a big role in supporting the kind of love that our parents showed us. I remember having an argument with my mom, telling her that, hey, you know what? You cannot give your friends the right to punish me, right? They are not my parents. And she will say, if any of her friends sees me somewhere that I'm not supposed to be, she gives them that right to do what they want to do. And I also remember having an encounter with my dad once when I went to university, and I would wear like a short. I come back from university. I want to go. We live in Akum. We have never been city children, like living in Bamenda town and stuff. No, we lived in Kumbu. We lived in Akum. So I come to Akum and I'm going to Bamenda town to go see my friend from university, and I wear a short skirt. He pulled me back and said, "It's either I change or I'm not going anywhere." I had a fight with him that day, and I told him that he's way too strict for my liking. Like, I don't know, this his own strictness now. It's, I can just term it blatant wickedness. And he pulled me back and said, you know what? I am not wicked, and I am not unnecessarily strict. Anything I'm doing for you, I'm doing it because I love you as my child. And I know the kind of danger you are exposed to if you want to go out like this. That has always resonated with me, in me, right? It lives with me, and it's something that even as a grown up, I've spoken to him about, and we laugh about it. But then it was, I looked at it as a hindrance. I looked at it like, oh, well, why is this old man blocking my shine? You get it? I got those legs. I need to go show them, and this man will not let me show. So to me, those are, again, I was a very active, stubborn child. So I had a lot of those kind of encounters that I'll question their love and their strictness and stuff like that. Anything you want to add onto that, Ice, or you want to just switch gears and let's go ahead and talk about love among siblings?
Yeah, not much. I think you've said everything. So I'll just go to love among siblings. And um this is a really first of all, I want to say the love that siblings share, it's heavily dependent on how the home was, right? I don't know. I think I ate on a plate by myself when I was about 13 or 14, because growing up we shared the same plate all the time. We ate from the same plate. Vali and Valerie will share most of the time. You and I will share. We did, you and I, but there was that we ate together all the time. And for me, that's something that is very important. That kind of built something in us that, like, hey, this is, if you want to eat, you have to ensure that you feed your brother. That's literally what they did. Like, make sure you feed your brother or your sister, have their bags. So love among siblings, we fight, or we fought, and we still fight, but then there is always this underlying foundation, or this foundation that is like, no matter what happens at the end of the day, we have to have each other's back. But then, typical with us, we are not the kind of family that will really look like, let me pick up my phone and just call Charlene and tell her I love her. She'll be like, are you okay? Are you about to die? Like, is something happening with you? So we are not that kind of family that we look at each other and just say, hey, I love you. No, we are not. That is
And
sex.
even when I do it, and you people, I
Yeah,
even try, and you people will just call
that
me names.
That's not us. We don't say those words. We show them. We act them in service. We do give gifts and things like that. We do like, I always use the 5 love languages, because for me it covers everything. It's an umbrella for everything. So we do the acts of service. We gift each other quality time, yes, but the rest, affirmation will be like, hey, you know, you're strong. Like in quotes, you're strong, master. You're strong. Like if I
You can do it.
you can do it. Those are the kind of words that we use. Like you can do it. I have faith in you. I have faith. Come on, go get it. Go get it done. So those are the kind of things that we say to each other. But and a typical thing, like if I just call somebody like Sandrine right now and I start speaking in, hey Sandrine, how are you? I just wanted to check on you to find out if you're okay. She'll be like, are you okay? First of all, I'm speaking English. First of all, I'm speaking English to her. There are people that, like in the family, there are people that I will speak English to. There are people that will never in my life speak English to because the way they are going to react, it will not work. Like Charlene and I will say something in the dialect and in pidgin, but you and I, we don't speak the dialect. But Charlene and I will go to that stupid part and we'll speak the dialect and we'll do those things. So I believe every family is dynamic and based on the foundation. For me, the foundation is key. Like, hey, you got your brother's back. We didn't fight. We fought, but no kid was allowed to beat the other. That was very, 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 very important. No child had the right to place a hand on another child. I remember that was one thing that mom was very persistent about. Never you touch your brother or your sister. You don't have that right. So for me, eating on the same plate, that is something that I'll never forget. And for me, it kind of, I can tolerate, it's a kind of, I can tolerate everything about you. I can tolerate your nasty eating habit. I can tolerate anything about you. So that's the kind of, that's how I looked at it. And other families, they have their different dynamics, but for ours, that was how we were brought up.
Yeah, and that's a good one. I've used that example, I think, in one of my podcast episodes before. I don't know what topic I was talking about. And someone reached out to me and said, for real? You people ate achu with your fingers from the same plate? I was like, yes. There were times that we got back from CS Stubbing and our achu, we had a tray. In my mind, I still remember what that tray looks like. I still remember the mark, the design of that
Yeah,
tray.
flour, a red flour and some green with a
Yes.
soup around it.
I still remember it because we got back from school and the eldest person at home, you dish the achu in that bowl, you put it, we all washed our hands, we sat around and we ate. Right. So I look at that as something, again, this is just and emphasizing on the fact of what you just said. I feel personally that that whole action, I don't know if our parents realize that they did something huge by encouraging that. But that is one thing that has contributed a lot to the bond that we have as siblings today. That is one thing that has contributed a lot to how close we are. That no matter how many times we fight, oh my God, tell me about it. We fight and we fight a lot. But we also agree and we talk about our differences like adults and still we fight and love and dance and cry. We do all of that together a lot. And I bet that all of that came about as a result of that simple action of, as you said, tolerating each other's, it might be eating, nasty eating habits and doing that. Today, in the current years, you'll see somebody, a kid will say, hey, I don't want to eat with that. I don't want them to touch my food. Or you feed this child with this spoon and you try to feed the next child. It's like, no, 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 no. I don't want that. I want my own spoon. Personally, I'm not telling anybody how to bring up their children, but personally, those are things that I don't admire. Because if these are two siblings, you want them to be able to be, and those are just little things that you teach them while they are small, that they grow up with and know that, hey, I can do this for my brother or for my sister. So that's something that I always take a lot with me. I see a comment from Shari. You want to, I lost my comments.
Sorry.
Can you see it? From Charlotte, we see.
A lot. Oh, okay.
Mhm.
I think growing up in our Cameroonian society, it was rare to hear someone say I love you. But the action that birth, the actions that made you understand, like the
That
action,
they love you.
yeah, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, and again, that is true. It's an iteration of what you said. Yeah, they will not say it, but their actions say everything. And again, it just passes the message across. Yeah, so again, sibling love. How do you show love to your siblings? How do you Are you the type of person that will call? I remember when I had CJ on the podcast, on my podcast, he called his brother and he was like, "Hey, bro, I just wanted to tell you that I love you." His brother was like, "What the heck? what are you saying?" So again,
Are
we
you
just
about
want to.
like you're about? Are you about to die? What's happening? Are you okay? So those are the things, because it's not our style, you know.
Yeah. Personally, I've tried it. Personally, not that I've tried it. I've done it to these people, and they'll be like, this one, the Solange is the weird one. I'll just sit and I'll send Charlene a message. I'll be like, this my Don Petit, Nandolo, you pass. Then she will insult me instead. And I was talking to someone, and I was like, hey, you know what? Let me try something with Charlene, and I bet you I know how she's going to react. She will send one of those foolish emojis, and I bet you that when I said that, she did exactly that. She sent one of those jiffy things, like, I don't know, she uses those things. And so you can already tell that among us, we are not very, hey, Ice Man, I love you so much, babe. Or, hey, I love Valia Fad. My job will tell you, say, no, I like you, go pass. Those are not things that we do, right? But we show our siblings love in very different ways.
Yeah.
How do you, listening to us, show your siblings love, or how do you receive love? How do they show you love? Do they
And
do anything out of the ordinary? Yes, Ice.
yeah, and what I want to say is, it's also this. It's a kind of a transition. The way your parents do show each other love, it's very easy for you to carry those same attributes into your personal life or amongst your siblings. Like, hey, um, for example, say you get in a relationship and somebody tells you that I love you, and you're not used to saying things like that. You're like, oh, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So you'll be like, oh, really? So first, those funny words will pop up first, and then you'll be like, oh, really? So it has an effect on siblings and your relationship, how you carry it. Those things happen, right? So when somebody is coming and but the truth is, this is another topic. I'm going wait. I have to stop right now because it's something else. What's the next thing about?
No, you don't dwell on it. Just say it, but we are not going to dissect it. The truth is, finish it.
No, I'm just saying how the way your parents, how you're brought up affects your personal life, right? For me, act of service is very, very important. I'm the kind of person that I'll be like, I'll do anything physically. I like to do things with my hands, right? So I'll do things physically. And I know even sometimes some of you take advantage of that. Some of my siblings, they don't want to, and you in particular, they don't want to do anything when I'm around. It's like, I's got it, right? So,
It's just like you barely know how to comb hair. It's just like you don't know, and you cannot help anybody with anything that has to do with their hair. If you were to save somebody's life just by putting motorbo on their hair, the person would die. So we all have our strong points. You are the more handy person, but Charlene and I, if it was food, if food were to save your life in this world, not that Charlene will save you, right? So we all have our different things that we could save each other from. So don't take it personal.
any personal bag. So
Okay. All right. Great. That is it. So share with us if you have if there are other ways that you show or receive love from your siblings. So we're interested to hear how you do that. Ice, was that you talking about sibling to sibling?
yes, now it's child to parents.
All right. So again, if you look at this, we are taking it from from our parents to our parents, from our parents to the children, among the children, then back from the children now back to the parents, right? How do we show our old people love, right? So again, remember that we are using this in a very, we are talking about this in a very, how can I say it? Just we're trying to control this a little bit so we don't go too wide out of topic, because this is a very huge topic, and we just want to bring it together in a way that we can talk about it for 40-45 minutes without sounding like we've gone all over the place. Charlene says you should keep her name out of our mouths. You're a chair girl. So, how do we as kids together, like all of us, how do we show our parents love? And I want to look at this on the side of, okay, these people are now old. Most, let's say they are retired, and now you are an adult, right? It is now you, again, the circle of life. It now turns back to you to take care of them. How do you show them love? Now that you have grown up, personally, I have become more affirmative. I talk more about love than I did when I was smaller. Now that I have learned these things, now that times have changed, evolvement has taken place, again, we know that that's one thing that we cannot stop. I personally tell my parents these days that I love them. I use that now. I did not use that when I was younger, but I say those things now because I am more exposed to them and I have heard them. I tell because I'm used to telling that to my daughter. So again, I'll tell my mom that, I'll tell my dad, and my dad will giggle and say, of course, I love you too. And I'll just laugh and say, oh, Ish is beautiful. To me, I'm enjoying him mostly like now because he has just moved from that very strict man that I knew as a little child to a very, I don't know what he has become, but I don't know if it's old age or, but I don't know. But he's just something else now. So how do we as children now show our parents love? Is it by giving them the gifts? Is it still just by actionable, like acts of service, as you said, Ice? Is it by posting them on our timelines on Facebook? Is it by posting them on our Facebook statuses? How do we show them love? Do we wait only for those big days to wish them Happy Father's Day and put them on our social media platforms? Or do we check on them often? Again, these are all different ways. However you choose to show your parents love, it is your choice, and it's all based on your family dynamics. How do you do it? I personally talk. I call them not very often. I call my mom way more often than I call my dad. But it doesn't mean that I love my dad any less. But I just talk more with my mom. But again, gifts, yes, I do that. I try to buy them presents. And again, just making sure that I support them in any decision that they choose to make as older people, right? Showing that support. And another thing that, again, just to go back a little bit before I give you the mic to talk on this sibling to parent love, Ice, is on the side of the way how you can show love, even if you are not in agreement, right? So it's like, for example, Ice and I are siblings, right? I can decide to say, hey, you know what? Let me say, for example, I bring a man to Ice. I'm like, hey, this is my man. I like this guy. But he finds something wrong with him. She feels like, you know what? I don't think this guy is right for you. But as we all know, we say love is blind, right? She could be saying something that I don't see, but I am all strong-headed. I'm like, hey, you know what? This is what I want for myself, and I'm going for it. In as much as Ice does not support me being with that man, so long as it is, I have made it clear to her that this is my choice as an adult. This is what I want. The only kind of love I need from her is her support. Ice, will you support me even if you don't like my choices?
Of course, it's well, it varies. I always say love comes from a place of vulnerability. For me, that's very important. If you're not vulnerable with me, I don't really feel I don't feel anything. And it's and if you come in with such a situation to me and like you're telling me, I see that you're vulnerable, this is what you want, I can only support you and protect you as much as I can. But guess what? You are responsible for your own decisions at the end of the day. The most I can give you is like, I got you in case you need that, right? But supporting each other, even in disagreement, is very important. It's like a disagree and commit, right? You disagree, but you commit to it. And that's very important at home, at work, at everything. You just have to even if you don't agree with somebody, you still have to commit and give them their support whenever it's needed. So I think I will do it, but I'll still have you like I'll still be on the lookout, on a serious lookout. Even more at that stage, I'll look out even more for you, because I know that there are things that you're not seeing that I am seeing, but maybe I might be blinded as well, right? And one of those things that we should not do as siblings to parents, just in life in general, is to avoid to judge. Because when you start judging, people start hiding information from you because they are scared that you're going to judge them based on whatever information they give you. So I'll disagree, but I'll commit.
Yeah, let's take a few comments and you can give your own thoughts on the whole kids to parent. So I see I can do Geraldine's comment and you do Eunice. So Geraldine says, posting parents on social media and saying we love them without backing it up with acts it's still empty. Check on them often and provide their needs. Yes, again, that is a call out. That is a good shout, good one there, Mamulu. You want to take Eunice's comments, please?
Yes. First of all, thank you, Grandsa, for joining.
Thanks for joining. We appreciate you.
We hope to do every week. Great topic. So proud of you. Thank you. Sibling love is one of the greatest gifts from God. Without my siblings, I am not me. My mom helps us to build a strong foundation, show our love by being there in good and bad times, accepting each other and not judging. And this
not judging.
Not judging, just what I mentioned. And I can tell this is one of those families that you also see a lot of, like, they are very, very, not that I'm exposing them, but it's there. You can tell. Their youngest brother is my friend. So I think I have the right to say that. So.
Thank you so much, Grandsa, for joining. We appreciate you. Yes, so what do you, again, as we round this up in the next 5 minutes, except we get other comments I would like to discuss, you want to share your own thoughts on how children now show their love to their parents?
Yes. If you remember from our last topic, Black tax, we said children are kind of their retirement benefits, which is kind of true in our African setting or in the Black setting. Let me put it that way. So showing love to your parents, when the reverse is actually taking care of them, ensuring that you can give them the help and the support at their older age or when they retire. Because when you mentioned when your parents work, they might be very strict when you're growing up. But when they get old and they're retired, they just become these big teddy bears that they are soft.
So fragile.
Become fragile. You're no more arguing with them. You're communicating with, like, there is more understanding, right? And this is most of the time is just what they wanted, even when you're young, for you to be able to understand when they talk to you, knowing that whatever they're saying or doing comes from a place of love. So it's about taking care of them. I'm not a very, very verbal person when it comes to talking or speaking love. I'm more of an actionable person. So I do more of the action, the gifts, or I can just say things like, hey, Rosie, babe. Like, that's how hey, when I'm in my good mood and I see, like, I want to just show her some love, I'm like, hey, Rosie, babe. And that is just somebody that we just have, when you love somebody and you just know that you love that person and you guys just know that you love each other. I think that's the kind of love that he shows us. Like, we just know that there is that love that is down there. We don't need to say it is there already, because he's not a very verbal person as well. He's very good with actions and all that. So.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for sharing. When I talk to him, I say my father. It's like, did I ever argue with you that I'm not your father? I'm like, I just chose to call you my father. So those are the kind of things I'll play with him about. So how does it work for you? How do you do it? How do you give that love back to your older people, to your parents? Now, again, if you're our generation and above, or maybe you're a millennial, it means your parents have come of age. How do you show them that love now? Do you give them what you expected them to give you or again, we heard one of our viewers comment that she came from a broken home. So now that you have grown up as an adult, if you did not get that love growing up, do you make an effort to give it to the family that you are building now, because of course you definitely do not want that to continue, so your kids don't have it too. So are you being the person that marks an end to that era, and you have a new era of love, and like, hey, you know what, we're going to show our kids love. We are going, and again, talking about showing kids love, we have spoken about it in light of us growing with our parents, right? In current days, like us, like, okay, me as a parent today, or you as an aunt to all the nephews and nieces that you have, how do you show them love? Is it by saying, like, Haley comes to me and says, hey, mommy, the other day she told me that she wants an iPhone 14, right? Is it because, will I just go get her an iPhone 14? Because she'll blackmail, I always say she blackmails me. She'll be like, oh, mommy, you know that you're my best friend, right? I will say yes. And you know, I'm the only person you have in this world. I'm like, no, you are not the only person.
You're
You're
not.
not. Yes. I'm like, no, you're not the only person. Then she will say, oh, but I'm your only child. I said, you could be the only child that came out from my womb, but I have other children. Then she'll be like, okay, but okay, with all that, can you just get me an iPhone 14, please? It is so wonderful. It has all these amazing features. Like, I'll show you how it works. That is how she talks to me. She's trying to blackmail me. Of course, I would not. I'm not ready to give her an iPhone 14. I'm not spending that kind of money on her. Doesn't mean that I don't love her. No. For some parents and another person, to them, giving that kid all those gadgets is a sign that they love the person. And without judgment, if that works for you, that is fine. As I say, we all show love differently, right? But if you are that kind of parent, then Haley wants you to be her mom, because she will blackmail you to buy her even a car at this age. So
Well, I have to say this. So I think if you cannot like right now, I tell my nieces and my nephew that I love them, even though I'm a very tough lover. I give them very, very tough love, and I'll be like, have you done your chore, Krista? She's like, I forgot, right? But she'll make me angry, and the next minute she's coming to like, good night, Auntie Icy, I love you. Like, I love you, but just do your damn chore. That's all I need from you, right? So, so
yeah.
it's coming with this age. I tell my nieces and my nephew all the time, on my nephews, that I love them. So, but it still comes out a little tough, because for me, I know that you got to do it right. To show me that you love me, just do the things that I say.
Yes, that's how you show love. And Charlene says, yes, Charlene, like, Sean, how old is Sean again? 3?
I was there.
Sean is
tell
a
you the
3-year
story.
old.
Let me tell you,
Wow.
Sean asked for something while we're doing Katie's photo shoot, and Charlotte said no. And he turned around and said, mommy, you don't love me. You don't love me. He said it, and Sean is 2.5 or 3.
So what is it? Up
2.5.
to 3?
And he looked at his mom and said, mommy, you don't love me. And that is how they see love, and we see it differently. So
Yeah, because you don't give him candy, he will
you know,
say you don't love him. So again, it's just reminding these kids, if you just
oh,
listen to them and do things according to them, they will blackmail you. They'll give you the emotional blackmail that you have never dreamt of.
yeah.
So
Well, I
this
think
was fun.
of the show. Do you have any last words or something like that?
No, just want to thank you all who have been able to join. If you happen to watch this later and you can think of any um, way that you have been shown love, or way that you have shown love that we probably did not bring up here, please kindly leave it in the comments. We appreciate you. If there are things that you would love for us to talk about, do not hesitate to either reach out to us on the podcast page. You can be anything podcast, or DM Ice, or DM me, and we are happy to talk about those things, because that's why we are here. We want to be able to use our experiences of growing up and our current experiences to motivate, to tell stories that inspire and educate. So we appreciate all of you who make out the time to listen to us, those of you who share, or who put comments, or who share the video. We appreciate you all, and we are grateful.
Yes, thank you for your every like, comment, and love poem that you did send. Please try to send us stars so that our show can be more vibrant and we can get those stars. Thank you very much. We appreciate your time. We don't take this for granted. We love you. Until next Sunday. See you. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Peace out. Bye-bye.